All right.
All right, so I am the movie Ginger. You already know me because you have reached out to me. But why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
My name's Cooper, and I wrote and directed this crazy little coming of age horror comedy we're here to talk about today. And yeah, you were one of the first enthusiastic TikTok reviews, so super grateful that you helped put the word out there.
That's awesome. Now I have to automatically ask because whenever you look at the writer and director for the film, you see Bucky LaBeouf, and then you have, of course, your name. So is Bucky LaBeouf like the character that you created for the film, and you wanted to kind of like make it like linear to like it's like a Bucky LaBeouf film, but it's about Bucky LaBeouf filming this film? Is that what you were going for?
Yeah, exactly. But I like how it's not totally clear too, and how it confuses people. Some people think Bucky's a real person, and you like it's just kind of just a joke that makes me giggle too. But yeah, when you see the movie, I think it makes sense why it's credited to Bucky.
Yep, absolutely.
Because what goes on at there's a couple things, but specifically the ending shot, which I don't want to spoil for anyone, but it's Bucky's film we're watching. So through the whole writing and directing process, I would often find myself like trying to channel Bucky, and like I would always ask myself, what would Bucky do here? You know, and
WWBD, what would Bucky do?
got to get a little bracelet.
No, that's incredible. I have to say that without spoiling anything towards the end, I have to say the third act, the movie has got so much heart, but that third act is so freaking insanely good. The practical effects, absolutely out of this world. So
Yeah, third act's pretty crazy, huh?
I thought it was really well done. So I have to say, what inspired you to write and direct this story? Was there a specific event, idea, a person in your life that sparked it? Like, how did All You Need Is Blood come to fruition?
It was more that like I caught the filmmaking bug, and when I was in my early 20s, I kind of discovered film. I watched films my whole life, but then like in my early 20s, I remember there's two films I saw. It was Blue Velvet by David Lynch,
Oh,
and
wonderful film.
The Fountain by Darren Aronofsky, and those movies like blew me away. And I like, what the fuck? Films can do that to you. They can make you feel that way. They can do weird shit like that. I had no idea, and that kind of lit a fire in me. And yeah, I just really wanted to make a movie one day, and it took a long ass time to make that happen. Like it took me like half a decade to get the confidence to write a script by myself. I didn't have confidence as a writer. I didn't think I was good enough to write a script. So that was a whole long journey in itself. And and then but this movie, so I was kind of working practically in a lot of senses, like I looked at what resources I had, and I knew I wanted to make something that wasn't based in realism. I wanted some sort of magical element. So I'm like, okay, I want a sci-fi thing or a monster. And originally it was like a ghost alien movie. It was something totally different. But I started thinking, oh shit, I can't have like cool looking aliens flying across the screen. That's way too expensive. I'll never get it. I'll never be able to afford that. So I thought, oh, zombies. That's a lot more doable. Just put a human, take an actor, put him in makeup. So that's kind of how I landed on zombies. But little did I know, zombies aren't that easy and cheap to make look good, which I found out through the pre-production. Like to get, in my opinion, you need really good zombie eyes. You need contact lenses to sell the zombie look. A lot of really cheap zombie films, they'll just do CGI
Mm,
zombie eyes,
yeah.
and I think that kills it and it doesn't look good at all. Um, So to get those zombie contacts was a major pain in the ass for our little movie because you gotta get all the actors to see eye doctors like a month in advance before the shoot. So they gotta get signed off by an eye doctor. Then you have to have custom contacts painted and made for each actor that fits their eye. And then you gotta have someone on set taking out the contacts every couple hours so it doesn't fuck up their eye. So it turned out to be a whole thing.
Sounds like a lot of shit to go through.
A lot of shit, but I guess what I learned that's movie making. It's just like nonstop shit after shit, and you're just constantly putting out fires, adapting to things not going your way. That's movie making, I guess.
Yeah, I will take your word for it because I do not have any knowledge in that department. I just watch the films, and what this is, I know I've said it once, but I have to say it again. This film was very impressive. This movie had so much heart, and it really, I think that resonates with a lot of viewers. I know the horror community on TikTok, all of us are fairly close. And everybody that I talked to said the same thing. This movie's got a lot of heart. It's well directed. It's well acted. It's one of Mina Savari's probably best performances that she's ever did. And Eddie Griffin. I don't even the oddest combination of actors to me. I would never guess that I would see Eddie Griffin and Mina Savari in the same movie.
Right.
It's just it was so awesome because I love both of them. I love Mina's a fantastic actress, and Eddie Griffin. I just watched Deuce Bigelow the other day again for a rewatch, and I love Eddie Griffin. And so the cast was great, the writing was great, practical effects was great. You know, to hear you talk about how the concept of this film really evolved from your initial idea to the final product sounds like you had to do a lot of thinking on your feet. Definitely.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And yeah, it's a miracle getting a movie made. What it seems to me, it's just there's all odds are against it happening, and there's just so many chances for things to derail. And I'm still in awe that we actually finished shooting and that it actually turned out how I wanted it to. It's just I've got very lucky in so many ways.
I will tell you, independent horror is like the backbone of the genre for me, in my opinion. A lot of horror fans feel that way. So, for you to make such a gem of a movie, this will be a cult classic, like no doubt. Like, the more that people find this movie, like 10 years from now, this movie it has high rewatch value. It's got a good story. There's a good character dynamics, the undertones of trauma, grief, all of that. I love how you wove that into the writing of the movie because people can identify with trauma. That's one thing that people can identify with. If you can't identify with anything else, we can identify with trauma because a lot of us have been through a lot of fucked up shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Amen.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm so glad you appreciate those things about it because the heartfelt stuff and the character story stuff is what I was most excited about making it. It was never just a zombie movie to me. It was to me it was more like a coming of age story about Bucky that just happened to have a lot of blood and zombies also.
And you know what? Sometimes less is more. Those are my favorite type of movies. You don't have to have blood and guts everywhere for a movie to be good. Even though I am a fan of gore, I am a gore hound, don't get me wrong, but whenever a movie calls for it, your movie had the right balance, in my opinion. Horror comedy is the hardest subgenre to do, in my opinion, because people either overshoot for the comedy and they have too much comedy, not enough horror, or they abandon the comedy after the first act sets up and then it's just horror all the way through. So in my opinion, I thought that you found that perfect balance and the tone of the movie was fantastic.
Oh yeah.
So
you're my ideal audience. I wish every viewer was like you.
Well, I mean, I've probably been watching horror for the better part of 2 decades. So I mean, I I know what makes a movie good to me, just
Yeah.
like everybody else knows what makes a movie good to them. I like to be able to identify with the characters. I like to root for the characters, and Bucky is a very lovable character, and he is very easily to root for, like 100%. And
Nice. Oh yeah.
you got this kid with a dream. All he wants to do is make a film, win a film competition. He just wants to. He just wants it so bad, and it's kind of like following your dreams.
Totally.
Everybody has a dream, and Bucky chose to follow his by any means necessary. And I
Yeah.
thought that was
Right
really
to the
cool.
to the extreme.
So, as both writer and director, how did you approach adapting your script to the screen? Did you find yourself making a lot of changes as you went, or did the original script pretty much stay intact whenever you basically set up your vision behind the camera?
That's a great question. Yeah, it pretty much stayed intact. Um, partly because on an indie film shoot, you don't really have time to change it. Like you have such a limited amount of time, and you have a plan, and you can't just go like changing the whole plan midway through. So we stuck to the plan, and luckily we were able to shoot everything. That was a real challenge, getting everything in the amount of days we had. We had like 24 days to shoot this thing. So you're shooting about, what is that, like 5 pages a day, something like that, which is a real challenge on the days when there's a lot of action and practical effects and stunts, because that stuff is really slow. Like I learned all this because I'd never shot a bloody movie before, but like when you do these blood gags, they're fucking messy. They get all over the actors' clothes, they get all over the house,
Yep.
and it takes a lot of time to clean that up, put their clothing back to how it was, and then like shoot it again. So the more takes you do of stuff like that, sometimes we would only have time for 1 or 2 takes of like the bloody gags. So we were really racing through that.
So I guess you're telling me that you shot this movie in like 24 days.
24 days, yeah.
That's impressive. It does not look like it was shot in 24 days. So that speaks volumes for the quality and the work that you put out there. Yeah.
Yeah, would have loved to have more days.
I bet you would have. And I bet the pressure was on. I bet that you had a great time, but it also was pretty stressful with you trying to meet each deadline each day because you knew that you only had those certain amount of days to get the film finished.
Yeah, exactly. And if you don't finish your film in those amount of days, and there's stuff you didn't shoot, it's gone forever.
Yeah,
So you really
absolutely.
gotta, yeah. But that's the fun of filmmaking, is having that balance of picking what's essential and trying to get it done in the time you've got. But yeah, I mean, indie films, it's totally different than a bigger budget film that has, you know, 3 months to shoot, or even more in the huge budget. That's like a totally different world.
Yeah, I can imagine. Um, did any moments or characters change significantly once you began directing? Did you maybe go in a different direction than you had originally planned, or did the characters pretty much stay intact?
They stayed, I would say 95% intact, because for me, casting was like the one of the most important parts of the process. I cast people who kind of nailed the character right away, and they didn't require much notes or feedback from me, which made my job a lot easier on set. So pretty much everyone nailed it right away, and everyone like was really respectful of the script and said all the lines. And sometimes naturally they're like, oh, can they would come to me and say, can I say this line this way? It feels more natural to me. And of course, if it feels right, I say yes. But you gotta be open and listen to your actors for stuff like that. But in general, I want to release the script publicly. I don't know how, for screenwriters or anyone who wants to read it and compare it to the movie, but it's pretty similar to the movie.
That's
Um,
really awesome.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
Eddie was when I first met Eddie. First of all, we only had him for 2 days.
Wow.
Yeah, in Mina we had like 3 or 4 days. But yeah, when you get kind of the bigger name talent, their schedules are so crazy that you only get them for a very limited amount of time. So we had to shoot all of Eddie's stuff in 2 days, which was a lot of pages. And when I first met him, I'm like, oh, so Eddie, for your stand up, because he does stand up
Right.
comedy and
Right.
he has a residency in Vegas. I'm like, Eddie, so do you have like your sets all written out beforehand? He's like, no, it's like 95% he improvs.
Wow.
So I was like, holy shit, that's amazing, but that's tough for my movie because I wrote like pages of monologues for him, and he didn't completely have it memorized. So that was a bit of a challenge, but so that I would say was the most improv going on. He did about 80% of the script, but he added his own kind of improving, which at the time I was a little stressed about, but I'm really happy because it added his own flavor and he made it his own, and I loved how his scene turned out. And
Absolutely. I love it. It's absolutely some of my favorite scenes in the movie is scenes with him in it. And Mina absolutely stole the show as well. I bet you were really stoked whenever you were like, I'm getting Eddie Griffin and Mina Savari for this. Like, what? Are you kidding?
yeah, it was surreal. And then the fact that they were just so psyched and down to do whatever and get grimy, like that was Mina on in the when she's in the. So I guess this is a spoiler. Can I say a spoiler?
Spoiler
Spoiler.
alert!
When she's in the shed, all captive in the shed.
Yeah, when she's tied up.
Yeah, that was. I mean, it was she tilts her chair over at one point. That was a stunt person because they hit the ground really hard. But besides that, it was all Mina. That was her feet doing that crazy foot stuff. That was her squirming around in the dirt, snorting fake cocaine. That was all Mina. But the foot stuff was crazy because I thought when I wrote that foot stuff, I thought we're gonna have to shoot this and like you were gonna have to do a little bit of it, take a break, do another chunk, take a break. But the first time we said action, Mina did the whole foot sequence in one take.
Wow.
And everybody was shocked that her feet could do that. So that was pretty impressive.
I tell you what, you learn something new every day, don't you?
Right?
So, if you had core themes or messages to take away from this film, what would you want your audience to take away after seeing this film? What is your most important value, would you say?
It's a tough question. I mean, it's not so much a value, but more, I guess, feelings.
Yeah.
I was hoping that people would laugh and maybe cry.
Yeah.
So that'd be kind of the gamut of emotions. But I was hoping people would be emotional at the end.
Yes, that got me.
So that was. If they find it funny and they get a little emotional, that I'm a happy camper.
Hey, listen, I know I teared up. I'm not gonna lie, and you already know
beautiful.
what scene I'm talking about. I'm not gonna spoil it,
Yeah.
but I had a moment.
Amazing. I love to hear that. Yeah, I always said if I could just make one person cry, I'll feel like it's a success. And it's funny when I showed my 7-year-old boy, he was like the perfect audience. My 7-year-old, he was just cracking up at some of the funny parts, and then at the end he started sobbing. I'm like, oh, are you okay? He's like, it's just so beautiful.
I know, it really was. It really was, and that was fantastic. And you should be very proud of that.
Yeah, obviously that's not everyone has the same reaction. Some people hate the movie, think it sucks, but that's every movie's gonna have.
If you ain't got haters, man, you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
I have a friend of mine, good friends with on TikTok named Arlie. He always says if you have one fan, you automatically win. If you got one person out there that likes your movie, you won.
Amazing.
And
I wonder, do you think there's any movie that exists that has 0 fans? I'm not sure.
I would probably say House of the Dead. That's my most hated horror movie, and everybody hates that movie as much as I do that I've talked to.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
House of the Dead is it's atrocious, absolutely atrocious.
I'm looking it up. Yeah, that's like the lowest IMDb rating I've ever seen. 2.1.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, enough said about that. That ought to tell you right there how bad it is.
Wait, but let's see if there's any. Oh, what? Look, there's a 10-star rating. See, no, this is what I've been interested in this lately. Like, I think every movie has haters and lovers. Like, even this, I'm looking some of the 10 stars. They're like so bad it's good.
It was just
Kind of like The
bad.
Room. You know The
Oh
Room?
yeah, with yeah, Tommy what was
Yeah.
Wazoo? Can't
Is
pronounce
it
it.
like that? Or
It's
not?
no,
No.
no, it's like a zombie movie, but they tried to put clips from the House of the Dead video game in it. The acting's atrocious, the zombies are atrocious, the directing's the whole movie's just terrible. But yeah, that is my soapbox. Anytime anybody asks me what my least favorite horror movie is, it's automatically House of the Dead. So
Wow. I gotta see it now.
no, yeah, you'll have to message me and let me know if you when you finally watch it. You tell me if it's as bad as I told you it was. So, what was the most challenging scene to shoot for this movie?
Um, Probably for me, the most stressful days were Eddie's days, just because we had so much to do in so little time. We only had him for 2 days, and we had a lot of pages to shoot. So to me, that was probably the most stressful. And we had to use for those days, if I remember correctly, we were using two cameras just to speed things up. Because normally, or every film's different, but most of the days we just have one camera. So you film one person talking, then you film the other person talking, and that takes time. So to speed things up, you can get two cameras and film both people at the same time.
Oh,
So
yeah,
that really speeds things up. There's trade-offs there's to doing that, but yeah, that was pretty key for us. And on the very last day, which was one of the craziest days when we were doing all that blood shit and turtle shit, we had three cameras and we had two sets. We were shooting inside the house and outside at the same time, and I was running back and forth between each set,
oh my
trying trying
God.
to direct both things at the same time. It was pretty crazy.
That sounds absolutely stressful.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So,
So
how would you say that this film helped you grow as a writer director? Now, do you have more confidence going forward?
not really.
Not really. I mean, at least you're honest. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I still feel very. I don't know. I think a lot of writers feel insecure about their writing. I mean, it's like it's just a whole process. When you're writing something, some days you feel confident and amazing about it, and other days you feel despair.
Yeah.
So I think that's just the creative process.
Kind
But
of sounds like my life. You
yeah,
know.
yeah, I hear you.
So, how have audiences reacted to the film compared to what you expected? Did you expect it to be mostly bad, mostly good, or just kind of down the middle?
Um, I guess I didn't really have any expectations. I didn't. I was just trying to make something that, first and foremost, that I was happy with. That was the first thing.
Nice.
Um, so I was kind of making it for myself, and just the fact that some other people like it is just icing on the cake. That's amazing. But I'm personally creatively satisfied with it, so that's really what I'm super grateful for.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see over time if it finds a bigger audience. Yeah, right now it's pretty. I don't think there's a ton of buzz. There's just so many movies to compete with. It's crazy. It's really hard to be seen.
Well, we gotta keep promoting this movie, man. We gotta get the buzz back up because it's definitely a movie that more people need to watch and experience. And like I said, I know all of my friends that watched it, they all loved it. they thought it was fantastic. It's like I said, it's really hard to do horror comedy and do it right. And this is a case of it being done right. So you should definitely be proud of yourself because, like you said, you were satisfied with it, you know, and you found a good bit of other people that really enjoyed it as well.
Yeah. Thank you. That's encouraging.
You're
Yeah.
very welcome, man. I have a lot of respect for what goes into cinema and making film, and I can only imagine you being writer and director. How like some days you were probably like exhausted. Like by the time you got done, I know that you were probably wore out.
Yeah, I mean, it was like 6 years of not just the shooting, it was like 6 years of mental obsession.
Oh
And
no,
it was pretty tiring, and it was kind of a relief when it was over. But
that
yeah, it
was
was.
that was really cool. Like that was an amazing journey for you. Like 6 years. Like I guess it just really goes to show you just how much really goes. I would have never guessed it took you 6 years to make this film because that's the part that the fans don't see. They don't see the blood, sweat, and tears that the director and the writer pour into their craft and the time and all of the hoops you have to jump through and secure financing and all that stuff. All of those things they're they're vital steps into you making your film. And I guess to think really, I mean, 6 years, like you said, really isn't that long when some movies take almost a decade to film.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's that uncommon with smaller films. It's just so hard to get a movie made.
It's because Hollywood's busted and broken and they don't believe in independent filmmakers, in my opinion, and that needs to change because, in my opinion, indie indie films like there's what is saving the film industry, in my opinion, because whenever you have a more niche audience, niche group of actors to work with. You don't have studio interference breathing down your neck. This is your movie to do with what you want. You know, you can move a lot more freely, I would imagine. So I think that speaks volumes too, and that's why independent cinema is such an important thing.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Studio interference. How many movies has that ruined?
Oh, we could have a whole other conversation about that. Absolutely. I mean, you you avoided being a cog in the Hollywood machine by making this movie independently, and I can only imagine how much change and manipulation would have been done had they got their hands on it. Because we don't need another reboot or a remake of existing franchises. We need new and fresh movies like All You Need Is Blood, and I think that's why so many people are hungry for something new. We're tired of being disrespected by Hollywood, by the film industry, and the same stuff being force fed down our throats. That's why I am constantly on the hunt for independent movies to watch every day. And also, I was so stoked whenever you reached out to me on TikTok because I'm assuming that you did all of your own marketing. I know I probably shouldn't assume that, but I saw you boots on the ground.
Yeah.
I was telling people to message you to try to get the screener to try to put the word out for it. I hope that was okay. Um,
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. No, definitely. I'm definitely doing a lot of heavy lifting trying to get the word out.
yeah, yeah. Like you said, there's a lot of competition um, in the industry, but I think that the route that you went, I think was probably the best that you could have ever done because at the end of the day you can stand proud and be like, hey, this is my property. Like this is something that I wrote out of my own mind that was never touched or infected by the Hollywood bug. Like you did this.
Yeah. Well, Bucky.
Yeah, Bucky did this. Exactly.
But
Bucky
he did so.
LaBeouf. I love that name. It's so fun to say.
right?
I would have loved to have said it like 50 times in my video, but it just rolls off the tongue. Bucky LaBouffe.
Right?
It's so good, so good. So, what is next for you as writer, director? Do you want to make more horror films? Are you go kind of taking a break? Like, what does Bucky or Cooper, should I say? What does Cooper want to do next?
Yeah, what's Bucky? Bucky's probably in jail for what he did to his dad and Vivian and all that. He's probably writing a script from his jail cell.
Probably. Yeah, yeah, most definitely. He's not a free man.
Yeah. So, fuck, man, I don't know. It's so, like, part of me wants to write another script, but I can't. It's hard to get motivated when I don't know how I would get it funded and made. So, it's, yeah,
Did
that's kind of
you
where I'm at.
did you self fund All You Need Is Blood, or did you just happen to like pitch it to the right investor at the right time? Like how did you get All You Need Is Blood funded?
It was a bit of both. I put in a big chunk of my life savings into it to get the ball rolling.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I took a big gamble on it, and then I was fortunate enough to find these producers who put in more money. So they increased the budget. Um, so yeah, like so basically, I don't have that money again to make another movie. So I don't know how I would make another movie.
I I Kickstarter, man. Listen, if you whenever you get to that point, crowdfunding, dude, people believe in the vision. Like that's one thing that I've come to understand is if you show people that you have like some solid stuff like that you're cooking up, like work up some designs, some posters that like people will crowdfund it. I mean, that's what Damien Leone did for Terrifier, and now look at how big that franchise is. You know,
Yeah, yeah, crazy. That's quite a success story, huh?
but but like you said, you would I know you would want to get something written first. Would you want to stay in the horror genre, or would you want to go try your hand at like a drama, a period piece? Like what do you think if you had a choice?
Um, I mean, I think more about story, like what story would attract me, kind of regardless of genre. But the one idea that's kind of burning in my mind is like a sci-fi western.
Ooh,
So, so like if I had the opportunity to make another film, I would probably see if I can make that story work, the sci-fi western. But yeah, we'll see. If I'm just kind of releasing it to the universe for now and seeing what
I
happens.
well, you know that you have a whole community of people on TikTok that will gladly promote your stuff, man.
Oh,
that's we're really big on independent film and independent creators, and that's pretty much like a lot of us are like gnashing at the teeth for new independent stuff. So
nice.
you, you
Are you mostly into horror, would you say, or are you do you like
I,
other?
I I like horror, sci-fi, martial arts. I like comedies too, but my favorite two genres would have to be I'll say three genres: horror, sci-fi, and like action slash martial arts movies. That's probably my three favorite genres. But I do like to watch comedies too. It
Nice.
just depends on what type of comedy. But those are my top three genres.
Nice. Hell yeah.
Yeah, big martial arts fan.
Oh, amazing. I want to see more martial arts movies.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
don't really get uh, released in theaters that much anymore. It's a real shame, unfortunately. But it's okay. It's okay. There's a lot of good direct to video stuff comes out. And I will gladly pay $5.99 to $6.99 to rent an independent film to contribute to the success of all the hard work that's put in. That will never ever be an issue for me. I mean, it costs 10, 11, $12 just to go to the movies, and that's just for the ticket to get in. So
Right. Yeah.
$6.99, and I don't even have to leave my house to watch a movie. I
Yeah.
mean, Can't
Pretty
really
good deal
can't really
these
complain
days.
about that. And I don't have to worry about paying for popcorn at the concession stand either.
Yeah, right. It adds up, especially take the whole family.
Yeah, phew, yeah. You. Oh my God, that would be like a car payment.
Yeah,
Jesus.
but some films you got. I mean, some films you got to do it. Like I don't know. For me, like Dune 2, I had to see it
Ah,
in the theater.
yeah, absolutely. So
So,
I know we only got about 10 minutes left. So I asked you about the hardest stuff to shoot. In your opinion, what was like your easiest stuff to shoot for All You Need Is Blood?
easy. Nothing.
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 I should have known that was going to be the answer.
Yeah. No, God, yeah, I can't. I think some things we nailed. I mean, you know what? The actors were the easiest. Like, they were all the actors were just so amazing, and they just really did stuff quickly in one or two takes. Like, especially Logan, the lead actor who played Bucky, was just
Loved him.
he was incredible. Such a good actor. If like for some reason I was forced to only do one take with him the whole movie, it still would have been good. Like he always nailed things right away, and then from there we would just have fun doing more takes and shaping it. But he just was on it, so he was real easy to work with.
I was actually introduced to Logan through this movie. I was not familiar with any of his work
Oh, cool.
before All You Need Is Blood, and I have to say, blew me away. Great actor,
Yeah,
absolutely.
so great. Did you check him out? He was in Stranger Things. He had a couple
Yeah,
small
I,
Stranger Things.
I seen that in his film credits on IMDb, and I went back, and sure enough, yep, there he was, and I guess I must have missed him the first time, but that he did a fantastic job. Super nice guy too. He
Yeah,
commented on the video review that I did. He was super like hyped and very nice, and I thought that was really cool. Because you know whenever I do film reviews, it's more of a passion thing for me. It's not like I expect actors to ever comment on the movies that I do, but sometimes it happens, and it's always a really good treat when it does because
yeah.
it makes you feel good because they know that you're appreciating their work and their blood, sweat, and tears that they gave to that project, and it's just a really good feeling. So yeah, Logan's super nice
Oh,
dude, and I'm glad that he did this movie because I now that I've watched it, I don't think I could see anybody else ever playing Bucky besides him.
yeah, totally right. Yeah, that was a hard role to cast because Bucky carries the whole movie, and if you get the wrong actor, it could really sink things. So
You're right. Character development matters. That is one of the biggest
yeah,
things that will make or break a movie for me. Whenever I'm watching it, if I'm watching like a camp slasher or something like that, I don't expect the characters to make me want to root for them because a lot of them are just cannon fodder to be killed off. But when a movie like All You Need Is Blood is made, that you're supposed to resonate and identify with the characters, I mean, Bucky's just a regular everyday dude. And he's got grief and he's got trauma and he's got all of these normal things that everybody else in the world has to deal with, and
yeah,
he really conveyed that in his acting. I think that he really nailed your character like really well.
yeah. He brought real human, likable aspect to it. Because there are parts about Bucky that in the beginning that some people find annoying, like how he just wants to make pretentious hoity-toity dramas, so but Logan, yeah, I don't know, he helped sell those things, I think, put a nice
But see,
likable inside.
yeah, and I also like that though because you see his character evolve, and he is
Yeah,
completely different Bucky from the beginning of the film to the end of the film, and I think that really speaks volumes as well about how well his character arc was written.
totally. Yeah, no, I put it for me, I love character arc. When I see a movie and we see the character go on a journey and they're totally different at the end than they were at the beginning, like I really those kind of stories really do it for me. And there's this old movie from the 40s, I think it's from the 40s, called Sullivan's Travels. That's a very similar arc that really inspired Bucky's arc. You should check it out. It's really cool.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
You said it's called Sullivan's Travels?
Yeah. Sullivan's Travels.
I'll have to
But
check that out.
it's a similar arc where like it's this dude, he wants to make like a really important drama film, and then yeah, without spoiling it, the story takes him on a cool journey.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So, Cooper, if you had any advice for anybody who's wanting to get into filmmaking or acting, if you could give somebody one piece of advice, what would you say to them?
Oh man, that's hard because I don't really know what I'm doing, so it's I don't know, I'm just you just gotta I don't know, listen to your heart, and if see if you're doing things for the right reasons, and if you're really in love and passionate about something, then just follow your bliss, as they say.
That's awesome. Follow your
And
bliss.
and you can't get discouraged because like it can take years. It took me 10 years of this feeling like an impossible thing to do, to make a movie.
Yeah, yeah.
So you gotta be you gotta have a little grit and persistence to deal with all the rejection.
Uh,
'Cause a
yeah.
lot of rejection.
I gotta have a lot of thick skin, I would imagine.
Yeah,
So
a lot.
I bet it was surreal though for you to go to the premiere of your film and sit and watch it, and I bet you were just sitting there thinking like, "Wow, I made this. Like I wrote this." And then of course, the actors, the players, they all brought it to life. But I bet that was such a surreal feeling for you.
Yeah, the that feeling was actually strongest one of the first day shooting on set, when I was behind the camera and I heard these actors saying these lines that I've spent 5 years writing.
Yeah,
That was totally surreal. That was really surreal. But by the time we got around to the premiere, I'd already seen the movie like 200 times. So I was kind of,
oh yeah, that makes sense because you had to probably watch it, making sure that everything was, copacetic and there wasn't any issues and all that stuff. That
yeah, that's yeah,
whole nother animal.
whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really awesome, man. That's really cool. I mean, it sounds like that you had a little bit of stress making the film, but it sounds like overall you had a bang up time and that you really enjoyed yourself.
Yeah, I'd say a lot of stress, not just a little, but no, it was like torturous at times, and then complete total bliss fun at other times. It was really like kind of an extreme roller coaster ride.
Well, Cooper, you followed your bliss, man. How do you feel?
It feels very satisfying, but on the other hand, also it feels like things are just normal. you know, it's a weird feeling like when you're pursuing a big goal for a decade, and then you do it and it's over it. It's kind of like, okay, you know,
Yeah, you like you
I'm
told me
still me.
like you made your movie and then you're like I went back to work, working my
Yeah.
job and boarding dogs and life just the world keeps spinning, you know.
Work keeps spinning, and you're the same person, kind of, more or less. It's kind of a weird, surreal feeling.
Yeah, but you know what though, that's really awesome, and I have to say that I'm super proud of you chasing your dream because all I want to see is everybody win, man. Like anybody who has a big dream like that, like I'm super happy for you and I'm super proud of you for accomplishing. I mean, this is something that a lot of people dream of and they never get to see their dream and their vision come to fruition. And you did that, man. Like, you did that.
Yeah, and I'm a dream champion. I want to see you fulfill your acting dream.
I will.
Right.
It's gonna happen. I'm gonna be a killer clown in a horror movie. This upcoming March, April, maybe.
Oh,
Um,
you've got it lined up.
well, my friend Arlie that I told you about earlier. Um, I'll be getting the script pretty soon. But it's gonna be a slasher, but it's gonna be cool. I think it's gonna be really cool.
Wow,
Yeah,
killer clown. Who's the best killer clown? Like, who are you gonna study?
Um, best killer clown. I'm gonna have to go with Art myself.
Oh yeah,
But I do like Pennywise, and of course the Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yeah.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space will always have a really deep spot in my heart because that movie is
Me,
one of my favorite clown movies.
me too. I saw that. I think I was like too young to see it when I saw it. It just kind of scarred me. So so amazing.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for your time, and I just want to, you know, just say I will definitely be on the lookout for any of your future projects. And like I said, me and you are mutuals on TikTok, so don't hesitate to reach out to me if you need anything, promoted or anything like that, man. Because I will do it in a heartbeat.
Man, thank you, John. Your support means so much, man. Thank you so much. Really. And
Thank you,
likewise.
Cooper. Thank you. All You Need Is Blood is currently out on video on demand. Y'all go watch it. It's a fantastic
And,
movie.
and Killer
Fantastic.
Clown movie, gender killer clown movie.
All right, Cooper. You have a fantastic night, man.
All right. Nice chatting, John.
Yep, you too. Thanks.